cooking?
That's right, what is cooking? I'm your host, Magic. Today, we have a very, very special co-host,
Co-host, Armand,
Armand.
Studio Zero.
Yes, that's right. We got another Studio Zero member up here, and a very important one at that. What do you do? What's cooking?
What's cooking, Johnny? How you doing?
Oh, great. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you for having me. So, what do I do? So, what I do is I make what the ideas in your mind come to life.
Ooh.
But I'm not a wizard. I do set design, set construction, and I produce on different projects,
Including.
chicken for breakfast.
Ooh, there it was. Very cryptic, but very fun. Armand is one of the producers of this podcast, helps with this amazing space that we use, so thank you so much for allowing that to happen. What a baller. We even got some Studio Zero merch. We got some Studio Zero merch on the phone. We got shirts, we got some cool stuff. So shout out to Studio 0216. As always, let's get this podcast rolling.
Let's get it popping.
So, set design. This isn't your first podcast either.
No, it isn't my first podcast. I've actually randomly been on a couple of different podcasts this random week alone.
Just this week.
This week, I'm always behind the scenes. I'm never on camera. And this week alone, within the last 4 days, this is making my third feature today on the podcast. Within the past 4 days, out of nowhere, I'm jumping out the sky like,
Absolutely.
eagle with a parachute.
Absolutely. I don't want to say this is about to be your favorite, but it's definitely going to be different, right? Because I think a lot of podcasts, we were talking about this off camera. A lot of podcasts don't really like what are they mostly about? You said something earlier.
So what I notice is majority of podcasts, in my eyes, are not content driven, but it's attention seeking and clickbait driven. And it's like, I think you could just easily burn out. Like, you can be it's almost like, to me, I believe when you're doing controversial stuff and it's clickbait and it's not coming full circle with messages and, dropping gems on people, then what ends up happening is you're burning your candle from both ends of the stick.
Right.
I feel like it's easy to burn out.
I feel like you get trapped in like a character mentality where, and I don't want to name drop other podcasts, but you get like this character thing where you have to be the same person every time. Your content, it sounds very niche. It sounds very very similar. It's like Wild 'N Out. Y'all ever see that show, Wild 'N Out?
Wild 'N Out, exactly.
It's like that,
Yeah, it's almost like it's staged. It's almost like you going to see something that's funny, but then you just wait to laugh. So you're like, what am I supposed to laugh right now? Like,
yeah. And you got like the dude over there with the cue cards, like audience laughing. Yes, 100%. But this podcast is different because we just talk about people. We talk about what they do, what they like doing, and you like doing set design. You like being in this field on like a very far back scene, right? So you kind of produce things on the level of, I'll organize it for you, and I'll get you set up, and I'll make sure you have the space to do it. How's that been going, and what comes with that?
So number one, the main things that comes with it is having to communicate and talk with a lot of different people. Right? I will say, producing in general it's a unique skill. If you have soft skills, then you probably can excel in it. But it just comes with just like a lot of organizing, a lot of planning, and a lot of just keep communication open so people can be on the same page and actually like have the vision, let everybody be on time, everybody be at the same place, everybody starting at the same time. When we say go, it's just like we need all, like a football game, we need all 11 people starting at the same time to make one play work. And that's the same thing with like producing and working behind the scenes.
So is it very challenging at times? I would assume.
Well,
it would be.
Yeah. Well, the biggest challenge is actually just getting everybody on the same page. Just actually finding people who are serious about what they want to do, as far as like their ideas, and then them actually taking the time instead of just talking about the ideas to actually make them come to life. Like, and actually, like, okay, we're not just gonna talk about this cool set right here. You know, we're gonna go light it. We're gonna like go test on it. We're gonna have stuff and content that we want to talk about. It's just not some stuff that's formulated in our minds that we think that's gonna be cool. We don't want to just think about stuff and talk about stuff that is cool. We want to make stuff that's cool.
100%. I think a lot of times it comes down to as well. I've seen it firsthand as well, where people, they get this idea and they want to do something, and it's in their brain for like a week, and then they talk to us about it. They're like, "Hey, Armand, we should do this thing," and then we're like, "All right, well, let's make it happen."
Right.
And then it doesn't happen because the thought leaves.
Right.
So those people don't really want it, and when you don't really want it, you can't really make cool things.
Right.
But I remember being here for 7 hours building this, and it looks dope. So it's a good byproduct of everything we do and we shoot for because we want to. So what is the hardest thing you've ever done? It can be set design. It can be, because I know you have a background in computer stuff, computer science, coding,
software development.
Software development.
Coding,
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So how does that translate? Are there any skills that are kind of transferable?
Yes. So I would say, when it comes to, I guess, like software development, so you have like parent-child relationships within construct. So say for instance, like it's easier to departmentalize or like give everything a department, and then from that department, like say for instance, we can say this is the home department. So what is in the home department? We're gonna have furniture, we're gonna have kitchen stuff, we're gonna have stuff for your bathroom, we're gonna have this over here. And then inside sports, it's almost the same type of department, same construct and everything, it's just different attributes that change. So in the same way, it's kind of like when it comes to conceptually, when I think about it, it's the same when you're thinking about set design or like using different sets, using different like sets, different locations and all that stuff like that. But when you think about it from the most base level, you still need a certain light setup. You still need your main cameras. You know what I mean? Like you still need your couple camera angles. You still need all these like basic things, even though your environments are changing. I would say that.
That's real. That's real stuff. Can we stop for a second? Can we talk about this drip? You always got drip. You always come in with a one piece in the same color. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's like my thing.
You're gonna drop some merch. You're gonna make your
actually.
own merch
So
line?
the crazy part about it is, I've been kind of like, I've always had an idea to come out with merch or whatever, and I'm just like, if anybody knows me, I always like, you know me from either like playing sports, going to the gym. So like I like wearing stuff that I can like go to the gym or I can be comfortable in and still be able to like kind of like come in different settings and kind of like look appropriate and not look like, you know, whatever. So you always see me inside some type of athletic wear. I love athletic apparel.
This is
because
very true.
That's me. You always gonna see me in some hoodie or sweat set, you know, probably some type of two-piece set. Some type of two-piece matching set, I'm gonna be in it. If you see me around and you seen someone in a joggy set and they probably look like me, it probably was me.
Look at this dude. He's like his ears are getting up. He's getting his ears up. He's getting his ears up. That's so funny. That's so funny. That's a outside joke, but that's so funny. That's so funny. Yes, there was actually along with that, there was actually a photo of you that went viral.
Oh, you talking about?
I'm talking about when you modeled. That was crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's funny, man. So we ended up. I was helping produce an event that we had at our old location. It was called Rip the Runway. It's an annual fashion show that He Loves Curves. Shouts out to He Loves Curves boutique. And they have a big fashion show every year. And so, you know, I'm just coming in the studio, two-piece set as usual. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then somebody like, Armand, you know, you could be inside the fashion show. And I'm just like, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm kind of like just, okay. You know, just, yeah, that sounds good, whatever. But I'm kind of like doing like the people we're talking about, like, yeah, that's a good idea, but I'm not.
Right.
Like, I'm not like putting a bunch of effort into it. And so me just having to be at all of the practices because I'm opening up the doors, you know me, to the studio so everybody can like do their thing. They're like, Armand, well, come on, you gotta do your thing. You gotta come be a model. I'm just like, bro, I'm not a model, bro. Like I walk like a basketball player. like
Bro, like that is not.
Like I walk like an athlete, bro. I don't really know. Like I mean, I'm in my mind. So what I try to do is I thought, if you watch the NBA basketball game,
Never.
NBA basketball game. Before the basketball game, it's a fake runway show. Nowadays, because they come through with their nice fits and all their clothes, from the bus to down the tunnel, they be having they not the uniforms, they have their regular drip on. So that's what I put in my mind. And so shout out to Motivated for Life. He gave me this sweet like hunter green Motivated for Life fit, and I rocked it, and hey, it was lit. It was up.
Started getting hit up everywhere.
Man, who would have thought?
Yeah,
who would have thought?
That's funny.
It was pretty cool.
The idea to launch your merch?
No,
you just.
No, actually, I just wanted to, because so what ended up happening was I've been had the idea to do merch. I just haven't personally like talked to people who was actually doing merch. So that's how me and Quan ended up being cool. Like we ended up talking more and more because I ended up asking, like, hey man, where y'all getting these blanks from? It's like, where's like, I'm asking about the business, honestly. You know what I'm saying? To kind of like bounce off ideas back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely support. Like one of the things I'm really down for is supporting others, especially in their creative journeys, because I feel like we're inside of a place in time where socially everything has to be cool, everything has to be in, and like it's almost like a gatekeeping thing. Like, well, if you're not cool, then we're not going to work with you, or we're not going to support you, and not. And it's just like those. I look at it from the opposite. Like, man, the creative spaces and the places where people actually interact and actually collaborate are the spaces that actually get things done. Those are productive spaces. That's where we're actually collaborating, working together, and figuring out stuff. We're not just going to show up and look cool.
Yeah.
But we're doing cool stuff.
It's funny that you bring that up because I think that that's a really bad practice in today's society because everyone's trying to do podcasting, everyone's trying to make content, everyone's trying to produce, make videos, edit videos. Like everyone's got their own thing going on. Mm-hmm. And what I've seen more and more, unfortunately, is no one's willing to just work with someone else. They're like, if I bring this person on, if I do this thing, if I do this whole thing with them, I gotta adjust this mic. Let's cover my face. They're always like, if I do this thing and I do it alone, now I don't have to, pay this other person, or I don't have to do this other thing. And ultimately, it puts you in this mindset of, I can do it alone. And we were talking about on one of our previous podcasts, like, a lot of these things, like, you don't want to do alone. Because those networks, you never know where that network's going to take you. You never know who's going to see, like, oh, Armand was on that guy's podcast, and it was really dope. So, like, maybe I want to get on the podcast. Right. Or, like, hey, Armand produces this really cool set, and I saw him on this podcast. Can I hit him up? Can I go find this guy on social media and see if he'll do something like that for me? Mm-hmm. So, like, imagine if I did all of this myself. It would, be super tiring, because I wouldn't have time to actively do everything. Mm-hmm. But also, I wouldn't make the cool connections I make. I wouldn't meet cool people. I wouldn't network. And ultimately, I don't think it would pan out the same way.
I think that, this is one of the things I always say. We are put in this world as people. People need people. We need each other. And we all have value, and so we all need to be used in a certain way. Now, being used sounds like someone's trying to take from you or trying to do something to you, right? That's not to your benefit. That's why I say utilize. Find somebody, find a value in everybody. It's almost like being a coach of a team, right?
Right.
You might have all these different players, but then you gotta pick who's who to do a specific job to utilize them in order for all of y'all to flourish, right? And it's like, be useful and be able to be utilized. Because at the end of the day, that's where the value comes in. Because like you were saying, if you do it by yourself, what happens is it's a cap on your individual success. And if you have something that you want to do that's bigger than yourself, if it's something that's for the greater good of society, right? You can get somebody to help you on your journey for the greater good of society. You're gonna have hundreds and thousands of people who trying to help you on your journey for the greater good of society compared to you might not get one or two people to help you when you're talking about, man, I'm trying to get rich. You gonna help me get rich? Right. They're gonna be like, do I get something in this? You know what I mean? But if you make it bigger than yourself, then other people still have that same sentiment. Like, there are good people out here. So good people want to help others. So it's like, all you have to do is have that mind state to want to like do something bigger than yourself and just utilize and make yourself be useful and get utilized, right? And then not only that, use the tools that you have to leverage it for others. It's kind of like how Studio Zero do. You know, we got all these different equipments, all this stuff, and like we have students that come in, we got workshops that we got going on, and it's like literally we're trying to share the knowledge. Like, we're not hoarding nothing. We're not trying to, oh man, if I tell them something, they gonna do something. Do it.
Yeah.
No. Do it. It's like, you gotta understand because in the industry itself, it's just like, I just planted a seed. Like, a lot of people they think that like, oh, if I show you something, you're gonna do it and you're gonna take off. But guess what? Don't you wanna know if your seeds bear good fruit?
Ooh.
You know?
That's good.
Like, by you planting that seed, because somebody else could be a seed. Like, you, like it may be a seed that you planted in my mind, and I might have helped you plant a seed too. Like, say for instance, like, okay, I might help with this, with your podcast. I have a podcast that I'm working on behind the scenes, you know, that's going to be coming soon. And you have planted seeds in me in order for me to be like, okay, I see this look. I want to go about this way. I want to carry myself this way. I want to set it up this way, right? So if you see me flourish, you could be like, Armand,
I put him on.
Yeah, that's good game. Like, I put him on game, like, and it's like, and it's not even like a thing to like boost your own ego, but it's a proud moment. It's almost like a proud parent moment. Like when you see a kid, like you trying to teach them how to ride a bike, and then they be like, and then the whole time you like, they don't even know they riding. You know what I'm saying? It's a proud moment. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it, and we just always have to give ourselves and everybody around us the capacity to grow.
Right, and I think that comes down to, I think all of that maybe can kind of be summed up in this, right? Are you making what you want to make because you want to make it? Are you appreciating art for art, or are you in it for the bag? And there's nothing wrong with being in it for the bag, but if you appreciate art, you'll understand that, like, Armand, I want you to start a podcast. And you just kind of mentioned that you were, but I want you to go start a podcast. And when you do, and it gets famous, and it goes
I'm going to shout you out. For sure.
You're going to remember, hopefully, that Johnny Magic put you on, you know?
Johnny Magic going to be working with me. What
and
are you talking
about? I did not put him on, but that was my example of, just remember the people who you're with. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone shares success in art. If you're here and you're appreciating it, that's where you're going to be. That's where you're going to end up.
Definitely right. And also with that, it's like, it's okay if you're doing stuff for money, but if you're doing it for the art or for the taste, like to your liking, because you want to create something that's a movement or something that's powerful or just something that's just creative. The thing about it though is like this is always going to draw the line on someone's character or their drive, is when the favorable moments are not presented to you, will that dictate your effort? Because the one thing that no one can like there's like every single person, when I look out, and especially when I see kids, I love sports, and I love that the small nuances and the learning experience that you gain from sports, right? And it's like, man, you ever see a kid who was like unconfident and all this stuff like that, but he'd be like, man, I really want to do this. I really want to play ball. He want to do this, whatever. And then you start seeing them peel off all these different layers of, they start like peeling off these exterior things that was holding them back before, and now they start peeling it off, and now they just start blossoming. Now you start seeing them more confident. Now you start, you know what I mean? Now you start seeing them like flourish and just be themselves and figuring out what they're capable of. Because you only know what you're capable of when you start going through moments and then you hit a wall and then you don't let that deter you. You be like, all right, well, dang, I hit the wall. Okay, well, don't do that dumb stuff no more. But let's figure out a way around it instead of just letting this totally derail me. And it's like, once you figure out that, you know, your effort, every single person, no one can tell you what your effort will be. That's the one thing that you have unique to yourself. Like, every single person is their effort and their, like, drive to do what they say they're going to do. Or like, because no one can tell you outcomes. You're in control of your own outcomes. And everything in this world that you're looking for is looking for you, Johnny.
Oh, there it is. Full circle. There it comes. This dude was trying to explain to me the law of attraction the other day. But I actually, hang on. That's some real stuff. That's some real stuff. That might be a whole separate podcast, but that's some real stuff right there. Law of attraction. That's crazy. All right, so I got one more thing that I want to kind of talk about, kind of plug you up a little bit, but also kind of, you mentioned something earlier, a podcast you're starting up. What's it about? You know, kind of elaborate on it, and also maybe throw in there how we can find you and follow you in that podcast.
Okay, so I'm going to start a podcast, and the podcast is going to be centered around stuff that we do inside of this creative space, inside Studio Zero, and enlightening the people who are more so behind the scenes, because, like, obviously everyone knows it's a relatable face to the ones that you see behind the camera, but like that, for that every one person that's in camera, it's like 4 or 5 people behind the scenes that's actually making that whole situation possible. And so we need to just be able to highlight the actual artists, who's the creators of the artists, not just the content, but the artist that's creating the content. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes, and just knowing who's who, really. Because I feel like once people know who's who, maybe, just maybe, that will spark the interest in making people engage more, making people collaborate more, feeling like you're not just like a small little pea in the whole little situation, but these people are around you, they brush shoulders with you, you've seen him before, you just didn't know what he did. But you was inside this place where it was supposed to be cool, so y'all wasn't socializing for real, y'all wasn't networking, y'all was just like, oh yeah, I just wanna, you know. So, yeah, it's gonna be like that. Just and then we're just gonna talk. I think about randomly. I think I'm gonna just bring up maybe like, you know, maybe something trending or something that's relevant, you know.
Right.
But for the most part, I want to highlight the people who are just inside the industry and our creative space that we really work with. And y'all can always catch me on Instagram on AC_Huncho. That's AC_HUNCHO. And you can also find me at Studio 0216. That is also on Instagram. And you can catch me in Studio Zero.
Oh, good. Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Do you have any last thoughts? Any last words, I dare say?
Keep your ears up.
Hey, we'll catch y'all on the next episode.